on? Can you see me? I don't know what happened there. I kept talking, and then I realized that you weren't there. So I will make sure that I repeat anything that I said. So if we're starting sort of over, I want to say hi, welcome to AroMagic. We're talking about focus, clarity, and manifestation tonight. I'm so happy to see you. Can you guys see me okay? Give me a shout. Say, yes, I see you, so I know for sure that, that you can see me. Oh, great. Heather, Lori, great. So glad you guys can see me. I'm going to smudge. Maybe we should start there tonight. I'm so happy to see you. And tonight, our work is very important, and the timing of it, I have to tell you, if you're in this class right now, and I'm totally serious about this, if you're in this class right now and you need to manifest prosperity, there isn't a better time for you in the next year to 18 months to do that work. I'm not even kidding, and it begins tonight. So I have a ritual for you using the tools for tonight's class that I want you to do tonight, and then I'm going to have you repeat it tomorrow. And we're going to talk about just the details of what to do and how to do it. But truly, 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 if you see me right now and you need to manifest some prosperity and abundance in your life, you literally could not have picked a better time. You could not have picked a better class. Our tools tonight are going to help support you and attract what you seek. And then you can combine them with anything else that you have. But this is it, girls. And I think we have a few guys in here too. This is it, truly, for Prosperity Magic. I have pages and pages and pages and pages of notes. So we are going to have a very full hour and a half together with lots of room for questions, because tonight, what's interesting is, you know, these are herbs and oils for focus and manifestation and clarity, no question about it, but they do so many other things. And so part of what I want to make sure you understand about these tools is each one of them has the lineage, more than half of them outside the US, of how they're used. You know, for example, cola comes to us from West Africa, which I'm 9% West African. And so that comes from that part of the world where the cola nut is exchanged, usually between tribes in a ceremonial way, to signal completion of an agreement, and to honor the agreement, to bind the agreement, which is what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. That's one of the tools you're going to use for your money manifestation ritual. I hope you're excited. Truly, truly, truly. So I'm gonna show you how to use literally all 4 of your tools tonight to manifest prosperity in the next 24 hours in the next year ahead. So I hope you're ready for that. If you didn't receive your tools yet, you'll be okay. I'll talk to you tonight about some alternatives that you can use. One of the things I want to encourage you, our order processing time right now is like 24 to 48 hours. So you are getting your tools quickly when you order them. I would recommend not waiting with the tools for May. They are in the shop right now. And I don't know if you saw the video I put in our group, but the 2 vials of essential oil, the opoponax and the honeysuckle, are worth more than the entire price of the kit. You're basically getting your herbs for free this month. I made a commitment to you that I wasn't going to charge more than $19 for our kits. But this kit is worth much more than that. And so this is one of the most prized kits that I will make for you for the entire year coming up for our next month's work. And then when you learn about the metaphysical properties, I think you're going to be very excited. So don't miss May. Okay. All right. So let's, I'm going to burn a little bit of our Peace and Clearing Blend incense too. So there's a couple things. Absolutely. There's a couple things ahead of new moons that I want to talk about. Did you guys see my blog today? If you didn't, I think it's one of the better blogs I've done. And it focuses on why a new moon in Taurus is so important for prosperity work, how lucky we are to have, you know, an April new moon in Taurus, which is the money sign, ahead of a money month. And it talks about why it's so important to visualize. I'm so glad you liked it. Why it's so important to visualize. So many people ask me, you know, do I have to? Do I have to close my eyes? Do I have to visualize the thing? Why am I visualizing it? What does visualization do? So I try to speak to some of that about why the new moon is so important, not just today, but why our ancestors felt like it was so important. So I'm really glad you enjoyed that blog. If you didn't see it yet, go back and check it out tonight. I think you'll enjoy it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this Peace and Clearing Blend. It has a little bit of white sage, but it also has rose, which just brings love and compassion. And then lavender, which brings peace. And I'll tell you why I'm doing this. I think it's really important to actively clear energy before you engage in a new moon ritual. You want to make sure, just like the dark night sky is a blank slate, you know, you want to make sure that the energy in your space is equally a blank slate. In other words, that there aren't any stuck or low vibrations. One of the things that happens subconsciously around a new moon, and I don't know what it is, but I have just always noticed this. And I noticed that some of you are having some technical challenges. It seems to be fine for most of you, but just keep giving me feedback if you're having any challenges. And so it's really important to do that, because what happens subconsciously at a new moon, fears come up, anxieties. And do you know why that is? Because the new moon is a time when we naturally start to dream a little bit and plant some seeds for what we want to experience and want to create in the future. But you know what? A lot of times that's overwhelming. You know, if you dream a big enough dream, welcome Angela, it's her first class. If you dream a big enough dream, it's going to scare you. And that's exactly what you need to do. If your dreams don't overwhelm you a little bit, you're not dreaming big enough. But one of the things you really want to make sure is that you're taking a moment to, first of all, give thanks for what you already have. The universe loves to give more to grateful people. What I have noticed is the universe doesn't like to give more to people who aren't grateful for what they already have. It's almost like, why should I give you more? You don't even appreciate what I've already given you. So start with gratitude, and I mean a genuine, sincere gesture of gratitude. And sometimes that's hard. You know, I have people come to me and they're like, honestly, Athena, I don't even know what I'm grateful for. My life is so difficult right now. But, you know, focus on something that you have. I know a friend who's close to you, or your family who lives near you, or your family who's healthy, or the fact that you have a job, or just, you know, things that maybe you take for granted, but are still blessings. Isn't it funny how a lot of the things that we take for granted really could be somebody else's blessing? And so just giving thanks, you know, gently just, you know, calling yourself into present time, acknowledging the presence of your guides, clearing out any energy that might be stuck. Giving thanks, I like to do it out loud. You know, I'm so thankful for all the blessings in my life, for my children, for my family, for the fact that my family is healthy, for the fact that I have all of you, and we get to connect and talk and hang out this way, and we are so blessed by each other's company. So just running through your list of the things that you're grateful for. And then once you've done that, I want you to look sort of subconsciously and check in with yourself. This is the step a lot of people miss. Where are you right now? I mean, do you feel like you've got to focus on what it is you want to manifest in the next lunar cycle or in the rest of the year? Are you feeling afraid? Are you feeling anxious? And if so, what's underneath that? You know, give yourself a little bit of time and attention so that you have a place to check in with yourself. Even if that's private to you and you don't share it with anybody else, you need to be able to share it with yourself. So check in. How am I feeling when I think about my intentions? Do I feel excited? Do I feel anxious? And then what you need to do is redirect your attention, because I will tell you, what really subverts the entire manifestation cycle for most people is fear and subconscious programming that no matter what they intend, it's not going to happen anyway. And that comes oftentimes from, you know, years of you know, parental programming and societal programming, and just telling you that, oh, you know, I'll try, but I'm not the person who has that luck, or I'll try, but I don't think it's going to happen. You have to believe with all your heart. But in order to believe with all your heart has to be open. You know, your heart has to be able to entertain and hold the possibility that what you desire could actually happen for you. You know, and then when you start to think through, wow, how that will change your life, that can be overwhelming too. And so just taking breaths. But I will tell you, this is like the missing piece of most people's manifestation and new moon intention setting process, is they don't check in. You know, it's like, it almost becomes autonomic. It's almost like I lit the black candle, I wrote my abundance check, I wrote my intention, hold my labradorite, blow out the candle, go about my business. But that's not a ritual. You know, a ritual is harnessing and raising energy, which requires you to be a clear, open channel for what's coming through. And part of that is getting clear with yourself. Quiet mind, open heart. Yeah? Double down on faith. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we'll do a little, I'll prep you for your ritual for tonight. Sheila's just getting here, says, how much should I miss? You know what, Sheila, you're right on time. Hi, Sheila. I have a giveaway too. I do. It's a good one too. So I will talk to you about that at the end of our time together. Okay, so we have 2 oils and 2 herbs, as you know, that I want to talk to you about tonight. I'm going to start with the oils. Actually, I'm going to start with the herbs. Let's start with the herbs. So one of the ones I'm most excited to talk to you about tonight is spearmint. Does anybody know, or, you know, have an idea, a guess, as to why I love spearmint so much? And I'll give you a hint or a clue. It's because it goes by another name, which is how I've always known it as a metaphysical, magical practitioner. If your incense burner is still lit, I would love for you to sprinkle just a little bit of your spearmint on your charcoal disc right now, actually. And you'll understand why as we begin to talk about it. It does smell amazing. I mean, I love the way it smells. No question about it. Okay, here's the reason why I love it so much. Yerba buena, which in Spanish means good herb. That's right, Norma. Yerba buena does everything. Okay, yerba buena is in Mexico what Palo Santo is in Peru, in the Yucatan. You know, it's literally, that's the difference. Not the difference, but that's the similarity, really. It's such a catch-all and such an all-purpose herb that it's used for protection, it's used for exorcism, it's used for health. It's one of the most potent herbs you can use to improve digestive health, especially the maintenance of good flora in your digestive tract and calming and settling inflammation in the digestive tract. You don't want to overdo it, but it's very good as a tonic or a tea for the digestive system. It brings luck, it brings wealth, it brings an overcoming of fear, which is why I'm mentioning it in the context of the full moon ritual, and is why I wanted you to burn it just now. So if you're feeling a little anxious, you know, we just talked about this, if you're feeling a little unsettled around your dreams and your visions, I want you to take a moment and I want you to sprinkle a little bit of your herb on your incense, on your charcoal disc. Maybe get mine going again here. There we go. And I want you to just inhale the smoke and really take in the scent of this incredible herb. Another way to do it if you can't burn it right now is just to pinch the herbs in your hand, which releases the oil. If you ever want to release the oil from your dried herbs, just pinch it in your hand. This is good for cooking too, and it will help actually bring more flavor to the food that you're cooking. Okay, so that smell is so common, especially in Latin American, South American homes, where yerba buena is thought to literally be a cure-all for everything. And in fact, this would be considered sort of like the one that you should have everywhere. It should be in your kitchen for cooking, and it should be there for making tea. You should actually have a pre-prep tea. I would keep little bits of this in those little disposable herbal tea pouches, the tea, you know, that you can get on Amazon, and just keep them ready. My daughter gets stomach aches a lot. This is one of the only things that helps her. A little bit of this with some lavender, and we'll put a little chamomile in there too. Another thing, slippery elm is really good for the digestive tract. Ginger's good for the digestive tract. Cardamom's good for the digestive tract. So you can actually mix all of these together and make the most beautiful tea for yourself, or tonic. And by tonic, what I mean is, what I like to do, I don't know if you do this, but I like to make tea, you know, make a big batch and steep it well, so it's you know, intense in flavor and also has an intense you know, amount to the properties of the herbs in it. And then I like to cool that down and bottle that. And you have to drink it relatively quickly, but it almost feels more medicinal that way when you're drinking hot tea. And some people don't like hot tea, but they still want to receive the medicinal benefits of the herbs that they're working with. So I call it a tonic when I make a big batch in like a Dutch oven, and then I chill it and put it in the refrigerator, bottle it, or you can, you know, put it in, you know, just regular water bottles and keep it that way. And sometimes if you have, it's a nice way to recycle some of your water bottles when you're done drinking them. You know, you can take it and pour your tonic in there, put it back in the refrigerator, and use your water bottle again. So I love that. And it's just a different way to, it's almost like having iced tea. I just think tonic is kind of a fancier name. And because you're doing this for medicinal purposes anyway, tonic really more accurately represents, or an infusion, that's right. However you want to, you know, think about that. Okay, so that's a beautiful digestive tea recipe. And it includes yerba buena because there's almost nothing better for it. Okay, here are some other things I want you to know about yerba buena. Are you ready? By the way, the Latin name is mentha spicata. Mentha spicata. And it's feminine. which probably doesn't surprise you. It is so good for the female digestive system. It would really crack me up if anybody had ever said or thought that this was a masculine herb. Yes, you absolutely, Colin, can make tea with the spearmint that's in your kit, so don't hesitate to do that. So it's feminine. Venus is the planetary correspondence, and then element of air. And it was a great question. Somebody in the group asked, you know, where do the correspondences come from? Who decides that it's air versus fire? And the answer is just a lot of research. What we do is we look through, and I was just going through today, and I was comparing just compendiums of herbs and essential oils, and comparing, and then looking intuitively too, checking in, like looking at the information that I'm finding, and then saying, you know, does it make sense? If it aligns with Mars, you know, planet Mars, it really shouldn't be a fire element herb, because Mars is a fire planet, or an air element herb. Mars is a fire planet. So I try to make sure I gut check it once I do all of my research, to go through and say, well, does that make sense? If it's masculine, it should be associated with a masculine planet and a masculine set of correspondences as well. Okay, you're very welcome. Okay, so coming back to this, so there are associations with different pantheons for different herbs too, and we don't always have documentation of those, but I can tell you Yerba Buena obviously associated with the Mayan and Aztec civilizations, because it was available at that time, and it's also associated with the Egyptian pantheon, which I think is very interesting. A lot of people kind of write spearmint off like it's just mint, but let me tell you, it far exceeds peppermint, for example, when it comes to the metaphysical properties. I would say peppermint is about a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of healing properties for mint, and I would put spearmint or Yerba Buena up at an 8 or 9. I mean, really, there's almost nothing better. So if you had to choose between peppermint and spearmint, it really depends on what you'd be choosing it for. I will tell you, if you're looking at mint for specific healing properties, like let's say you're looking for a mint that's going to help you with headache and migraine, I wouldn't choose spearmint. I would choose peppermint. Peppermint's better for sleep. In some cases, although some people prefer the scent of spearmint, either mint will get you where you need to go when it comes to sleep. Peppermint can be almost too uplifting, too activating for people to sleep sometimes. So example is Rev. One of my sleep perfumes has spearmint in it, because the peppermint sometimes can be too activating for people. But it just depends. So I would say if you're trying to choose between mints and you're not sure, Ellie just planted spearmint and lemongrass. What a combo. I mean, seriously, Ellie, do you remember from our conversation about lemongrass, how it's another like catch-all herb that you just have to have? And lemongrass tea tastes so good. I mean, it's so soothing. It's very calming and comforting. So I would love, Ellie, to see you combine those two for a nighttime tea maybe, something a little bit soothing, or a ritual tea. Lemongrass with spearmint would be a really beautiful tea to take either before you do a ritual, you know, as you're sort of calming and grounding yourself, or during your ritual. I love drinking tea during ritual. I have my tea right here. Peppermint is far better for sinus, because again, it's got that zing. Spearmint doesn't really have that zing, you know, that we associate with mint. It's a very technical term, but you know what I mean, where like you almost have to blink because it's so strong as you inhale. Spearmint is a little more round. It's not as sharp, and so it's more beautiful in perfumes, I think, if you have to have a mint ingredient. So here's the thing. It's relatively common, but we take it for granted. You know, people are like, oh, I'm spearmint tea, or spearmint gum, but they don't think about the sort of the lineage, you know, really of spearmint, which as Yerba Buena is extensive. So here's all the things it does. Are you ready? This is beyond your content on the classroom, so if you want to take notes, I would recommend it. So it is for protection and psychic power. It's anti-inflammatory, especially in the digestive tract, which is why it's so good if you know anybody who has IBS, colitis, or Crohn's disease. Spearmint is very gentle and quite easily taken. Depends on the age of the person. So with my daughter, she's very young, and too much can actually upset her stomach. So I make a very weak tea for her, and combine, like I said, with lavender, a little slippery elm, depends, marigold, other ingredients. If it's an older person, you can do a stronger tonic or a stronger infusion of it, and you'll be fine. Yes, it can be helpful for celiac, for sure. And I'm saying that because I've had a lot of clients who have told me that they've used it for celiac. So it's just, imagine it's almost like a blanket for your intestine. It just sort of coats and soothes, and it's a nice alternative too. Some people, when they have an upset stomach, don't really want to do Pepto-Bismol and other things like that can be very constipating. Spearmint doesn't constipate or bind. It just soothes and reduces inflammation. So it's really, really nice. Here's the thing. With the spearmint, I always start with about a tablespoon of herbs to a cup of tea. I start there as a baseline and I watch how it steeps. You know, certain teas are better taken in a weaker form and certain teas are better taken in a stronger form. And so that's why I'm talking to you now about the, you know, how condensed your version should be. And I think for part of it, for me anyway, has always been about the age of the person. Because I find that younger tummies, like even with lavender tea, I don't steep my daughter loves tea, but I don't steep her teas very long. They're the color of the cabinet. You know what I mean? Because she doesn't need the intensity of the herbs to work with for health purposes anyway, that we do. And so intensity is everything when it comes to tea. Isn't that cool? Erica says, I just realized that my mom always has yerba buena at her home. Had no idea. You know, spearmint. Isn't that cool? Yeah, Rona. So that's why I'm saying it soothes the entire digestive tract, you know, top to bottom. And so whether it's esophageal or anything down the digestive tract, what's really nice about spearmint is it's not harmful. It's a very safe herb to work with. And like I said, what I think about in terms of using it medicinally is the intensity of the brew. So how do you sweeten your tea? A lot of us like stevia. A lot of us don't like to sweeten our tea. I've actually really cultivated a taste for tea with no sweetener. It's in your garden. I know some of you already have it, so I want to inspire you. Let me tell you something. If you want to attract prosperity to your home, plant it in the southeast or southwest outside of your home, either direction, but you want it in the south. A lot of people prefer the southeast, and I like the southeast too, but if you have to plant it in the southwest, at least you're still planting it in the south direction of your home. So think about your garden spatially, where is north, south, east, and west, and then plant just a small plant. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could just be a little container plant. But let that, you know, as you plant that, and when you do something like that, always set an intention for that plant. You know, as you lovingly take it out of the pot that you buy it in, and you have your potting soil, you transfer it to the earth, or you transfer it to a you know, container that you choose. Make a whole ritual about that. Put a piece of quartz in the bottom of the pot, you know, and then add your potting soil and say a blessing over the soil, and then add your plant, say a blessing over the plant. Some people like to sing to their plants. You can put other herbs around the base of it as an offering too. And then when you're done, just send beautiful energy. You can send Reiki to the plant and just call in your guides and ask them to bless this plant, and that as it grows, so may your prosperity grow. And that's a beautiful, I mean, simple, beautiful ritual. But because this one does tend to take over gardens, you might prefer to grow this one in a container because it's going to grow fast and strong, and you may not want a whole garden of yerba buena. You may. Maybe you're going to start harvesting it and giving it to people. Or you can totally smudge with mint. Totally. In fact, one of my favorite smudges is rosemary. I love to smudge with rosemary. The smell of it, especially if something happens to me, and I think it's my age more than anything, but right around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I start getting sleepy. And then by 5, I'm fine. But there's this like 4 o'clock slump that happens for me. All I have to do is smell rosemary essential oil or burn a little bit of dried rosemary, done. Or you can take just the rosemary that you find in your grocery store on the herb aisle, just grab that, bring it home, light a charcoal disc and sprinkle a little bit on it, and it will wake you right back up. That's a quick, easy tip if you have the 4 o'clock slump like I do. I'm wide awake now, but I mean, an hour ago I was like, okay. Other things to tell you. Yerba buena. I could talk all night about yerba buena, by the way, so I'm going to try and control myself here. Yerba buena releases negative entity attachments. Now, you know, a lot of people ask me all the time about negative entity attachments and spirits and spaces, and I do think sometimes spirits get stuck. You know, I grew up with ghost activity because my mom was a medium and didn't set good containers or create good containers when she was doing a lot of her medium work. So we regularly had visitors to our house and then had to help kind of escort those visitors out or bring people in to help us escort visitors out. But yerba buena sometimes the attachments of entities to things. And this happens sometimes when people buy furniture, oddly enough. Like if you buy vintage or antique furniture, or if you buy a piece of furniture where someone has passed away, sometimes souls get attached to things. And so a lot of times that's how things get into people's houses. You know, they'll be like, oh, I was thrifting and the energy felt fine. And then I brought this mask home and all of a sudden, you know, the energy in my space is weird. Have you heard stories like this? Does this sound right to you? And so one of the things you can do if you ever have that feeling, there's two things you can do quickly to at least release initially an attachment if you sense one in your space. The first is burn yerba buena. Okay. As an alternative, if you don't have yerba buena to burn, you can burn yerba santa, which is this, which is a different plant, a different herb. We actually sell this at Sage Goddess. Yerba santa has a similar property when it comes to releasing negative spirit attachments. Now, here's the thing about yerba santa. It doesn't smell very good. I don't think it smells like cat urine, but that is what a good chunk of people in my world think it smells like. I'm going to put it out because I don't want to smell like cat urine tonight. You know, it's just not really what I want to smell like, not cat pee, but that's what some people say. But you can use yerba santa or yerba buena to release negative energy that might be attached to something. The other thing you can do to almost instantly release an attachment to something is use sound. Crystal singing bowls have a really powerful ability to come in and detach an entity from a space. They can even, and this is why you got to be careful with crystal singing bowls sometimes, they can even detach an entity from a living person, which technically is an exorcism. There's stories of, we had a woman here actually who had sort of an exorcism type moment when I was playing a crystal singing bowl. So you have to, you know, but if you experience things like that, I want you to have like quick things that you can do to release energy of that kind. And bells and drums, that's right. Look, shit happens. You know what I mean? And when shit happens, if you get nothing else from me over the year, which I'm sure hopefully you will get much more, but one of the things I hope you get from me is you need to have quick tools to be able to react quickly when things happen. I want you to have like a running list in your head where like if weird things happen, you can remember, you know, Athena said, if I needed to remove an entity really, really quickly, it was a singing bowl or yerba buena kind of thing. Like I like that you have this running list in your head. With the lady, she finished up the ritual and left, and I never saw her again. And that's probably not an accident. I set the intention that anyone who would be bringing anything harmful to the building would not return. So she never has. Oh my God, Jen has 10 cats right now, and 4 of them are kittens. Can I tell you, Jen, that I would really love to send my children to your house because they would lose their minds. We are all cat people. I'm a crazy cat lady. I only have one because I'm married to someone who's not a crazy cat person. And so I'm allowed to have one cat. But I would have 80 of them if I could. Maybe one day. It's true. Monty says maybe she came to be exercised, you know? I mean, people intuitively know what they need and they seek it. You know, that's the one thing I can tell you as a healer. In my career, what I have found is people intuitively know what they need and they seek it. I mean, you need this for some reason. You've sought it. You're a teacher, you're a healer, you want to be, or you will need this information at some point and the universe knows it. And so it's putting all this in your hands right now. So anyway, all of that. Now, here are other kind of like old folklore things about yerba buena, and then we'll move on. It neutralizes all negative energy in a space. That's the other reason why I wanted you to burn it. Completely neutral. On par with white sage. Can you believe? That's why I'm saying little old spearmint that gets no credit. You know, it's like a strong, really, truly as powerful as white sage in many ways in terms of clearing attachments and neutralizing energies. And so there are some little old folklore like you can make a tea of it and pour it over graves in a cemetery if you want to make contact with spirits as sort of like a Samhain, you know, activity. Let me tell you, I don't think I would ever do that. I don't make it a regular habit to make contact with spirits, especially spirits I'm not familiar with. But if that's interesting to you, you know, good luck with that. I'm just telling you, this is old folklore. I'm not, I love it. Lauren said, oh, hell no. This is folklore. This isn't Athena telling you, hey, go make some tea and pour it over, you know, headstones in a cemetery. So see, Ladybug Jazz would do it. So I don't have any judgment. I'm just saying it's not my cup of tea, pun intended. Not today. But I will tell you, one of the things that you can create, and we're actually going to carry this in the shop, but I'll give you the recipe for it tonight. It's kind of a little bit of an edge if you want to make your own. And you could take this recipe and embellish it too. Here's a recipe for what we're talking about as an altar to go. It's a temple to go blend. Okay, so if you want to create instant sacred space, it's going to neutralize energies in your space, and something that you can take in a little package and maybe keep it in your glove box or put it in your altar. A lot of you have portable altars, you know what I mean? And I do too, like just ones that you take with you when you journey. So here's what you'd want to put in that. You'd want to put yerba buena, obviously. You'd like, ideally Palo Santo chips or white sage leaves that are crushed up, or you could use frankincense, tears, you know, the little beads of frankincense, or you could use myrrh. You want something that's going to purify. So any of those four would be good. Then you want to use holy basil, also known as tulsi, and then angelica. And that is what we would consider to be a very sacred blend for either creating an offering, for doing an altar dressing, or for using as an incense, because all of those things are safe to burn and purify and cleanse the energy in your spaces. Aren't they yummy? And it smells good too. I mean, it's a beautiful blend. It really depends. You can toggle this and make it smell the way you want it to. If you know you want it to be more woodsy, then you could add Palo Santo instead of white sage. If you want it to be more, you know, herbal and a little bit sharper, then you could use white sage in that blend. Yeah, so these recipes are coming to the group, so you don't have to rush to write those down, but I'm sharing them with you kind of orally as we talk through. You could make it as a tea. I wouldn't take this as a tea, personally, because you can't, it's best not to use the resin incenses as tea, to take them internally. So I would use this more as an incense, as a scattering blend, or as an offering blend. Let me tell you, if you use that as an offering blend, there's almost nothing more powerful. I mean, truly, those are sacred, those are timeless, those are smells that spirits remember, and smells that they are attracted to. So those would be really beautiful. Okay, so we talked about digestion tea. We talked about the temple to go blend. And any questions about yerba buena, the good herb, spearmint, as it's also known, before we move on? I love holy basil. Yeah, it'd be beautiful. Yeah, we're going to bring this to the shop, but I'm giving you the recipe so that if you want to riff on it. And I think that's kind of fun too. Part of what I love about our group, but I see a lot of you doing this, is you take some of the recipes and then you personalize them, you customize them. You know, you look at them and you say, well, that's a great recipe. I'm also going to add orange peel because I know the orange peel attracts prosperity and business success, and I'm trying to launch a new business. Or you could say, well, I love all of that, but I'm going to add rosemary because I'm also wanting to work on my health, and so I want to make an offering in support of my health. Or marjoram, or heather, or whatever healing herb you're working with. So I kind of like that. So altar dressing. So it's a very common practice, and in fact, it drives me nuts, by the way, but it's a very common and a good practice, because I'm a little OCD and I'm a minimalist. I like things to be clean. Altar dressing is a blend of herbs that you scatter across your altar, and it's a very traditional, very old practice. It's mostly a pagan practice, although in the temple days, and I'm talking about Greece and Rome and even back to Egypt, we know that they scattered herbs on the floors of the temples all the time. And part of that was because as you walked on it, you walked through the herbs. That was thought to be a way of working with them as a blessing. People would pick the herbs up off the floor and scatter them outside, or put them in the candles that were burning. And so just having the herbs scattered was a regular part of ritual process. We don't do it so much today, but I like the idea of reviving some of these old traditions, especially if you have a beautiful bowl. A lot of you have gotten the onyx bowls that I have offered you. I also have the blue Lemurian, what we're calling Lemurian calcite, or the blue onyx. Different people call it different things, but those offering bowls are so beautiful. And so you can buy yourself a gemstone bowl and just commit to doing a different offering blend, or scattering blend, or blessing blend for your sacred space every month. And that's, by the way, that's what the herb tins are for with the full moon kits, is they're intended to be scattered and used as an offering or as an altar dressing blend, which is very cool. Girl, Laura, you and me both. It's hard because I like stuff and I like things, but I also like space and order. It's like being a Virgo and a Leo all at once. Ah, selenite bowls. I think they are coming back, selenite bowls. I know, I love those too. Aren't they beautiful? Do you remember the little selenite bowls? Such magic, and perfect for this kind of thing too. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. You know, and honestly, Haley, it's a beautiful way to rededicate and reconsecrate your space, actually, is to bring all those herbs together and do a blessing as you scatter them. That's a beautiful tradition to do too. So when you're done with the herbs, here's what I do, okay? When you're done with the herbs, that you've had on whatever space you've decided to use them on, never, never, never throw anything away. Okay, I know, and that's, I have to tell the OCD people that, because we like to throw things away, but not herbs and not ash. You know, I'm trying to teach you ceremonially that when you use things, if you want to work in the native way and in the old way, you know, the true, you know, the true way of our ancestors, all of our magical ancestors, nothing was ever wasted, because everything is energy. And so truly, from the point where the sage is harvested all the way to when you have ash in the bottom of your dish, that entire life cycle of that sage is sacred. And so same thing with your scattering herbs. No ash in the trash, Kat. That's exactly right. So what you want to do is you want to kind of sweep your altar. So what I do is I take everything off. I sort of sweep my altar, and you can use a little, you know, a little brush. I just use my hands and kind of sweep it all together, make sure I get all of it off, put it in a beautiful bowl, and you have a couple of choices. So you can take that and make that an incense blend. And that's fun to do. You know, you can mix it with your rose powder. You can mix it with copal and frankincense and make it like a sort of a proper incense blend. Add a little mako powder to it, which would mean it's incendiary. You don't have to burn it on a charcoal disc, which is kind of nice. And so you can make your own incense blend out of it. Or you can just burn the herbs ceremonially. You can go and make a bonfire in your backyard or at the beach or wherever resonates with you, and set the herbs to burn there. And again, that's a ritual. You are burning them and sending that smoke up to source, calling in the blessings of that blend. And then again, when your ashes are done, take them and bury them in the east. So the east is where we always bury the residue of our sacred tools once we are done with them. The life cycle of them is complete. Now, Kristen, you know, it's kind of fun to be in that space, though. She's saying she doesn't have an altar yet, and she's trying to figure out where to put it. You know, take your time and enjoy the process. You don't have to set things up right away. And in fact, when you do things with that much intention, Kristen, I think that's magical in itself, you know? So beautiful, beautiful. Black salt is beautiful for a protection tool, for sure, for sure. So Erica, it's a great question. She said, how long do we keep the offerings before we clean them up? So here's my rule of thumb. Are you ready? And it's so simple that if you follow it, you won't have to really come up with another rule. I work moon to moon. I run my whole life in those cycles. I set intentions in those cycles. How many of you, I'm just curious, and be honest, there's no shame in it, but how many of you have never set a new moon intention before? I would just love to know it. Kind of want to celebrate it with you, because if you're brand new to that process, you're about to really, really, really discover something that's going to fulfill you. When you start setting intentions and you do it every month, sort of diligently, and you look back at the end of the year, you should have an intention journal, by the way, and it can just be a composition journal. It doesn't be anything special. But you should write your intentions down every new moon. And then at the end of the month, so Judy and Anne and Lori did it once, Dauphine, and Joyce and Kathy. I mean, this is exciting, Kelly. I'm really excited for you guys, which is why I'm going to spend the last 15 minutes of tonight getting you ready for tonight, because tonight can be your first really full new moon ritual that you have done with intention setting. So tonight can be a very powerful evening for you. And then I want to encourage you to set aside this night each month. Start planning, go to your calendar. We're building a new calendar here at Sage Goddess. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be like the witch's calendar on steroids. So until that comes, you know, use whatever calendar you use to plot your month. Put your new moon on there, and you know, all you need is half an hour, 15 to 20 minutes even. But you want to have a little time and space to yourself to think. I'm so excited for you, because then you're going to start to see, and you're going to start to live your life moon to moon, and you're going to think in lunar cycles. Like, okay, tonight's the beginning of this new moon cycle. It starts really tomorrow morning. What do I want to experience for the next 28 days? Like, what do I want this new cycle to be about? Now, the metaphysical meaning of the month tells you something about what your parameters should be. So because May is about prosperity, financial prosperity, certainly this would be a good time for you to set an intention around that, although every new moon is open for you. And so you can choose to set an intention of any kind. for yourself. It doesn't have to be around prosperity and abundance. Okay, are you excited? Me too. Are you ready to move on to cola nut? Cola nut. You can use it as a rattle. Look at that, Colin. If women were in charge, we would have a 13-month calendar. You know what? I think once you open yourself up to this way of living your life, you become more aware, not just of the moon, but of all cycles. You know, and every year you're going to have some new awareness. It was really only this year for the first time. I love magnolias. This is the first year that I really noticed myself being aware of the magnolia tree, you know, the blooming cycle in spring. And I was kind of lamenting how short it is. You know, same with the cherry blossoms. It's like they're there and they're gone, kind of. And really wanting to become more present in my own life to the cycles of things that bring me a lot of pleasure and joy and beauty, and are so fleeting. And I really thought to myself, next year, I noticed the date when the cherry blossoms started blooming and when they stopped in my neighborhood. And I put that on my calendar and I thought, you know, next year I'm going to set a little alarm for myself because I don't want to miss it. You know, I get busy and maybe I don't drive down that same street. So I don't get to see them every night on my way home or every morning on my way in. And so I want to be more mindful and more present. And to me, that's magic. To me, just the noticing is magic, right? My plumerias are blooming too, Joyce. They're trying. It's been hot, you know, but that's right. Tracy King said your life becomes a prayer, and your life does become a prayer, and your life also becomes an affirmation. Your life becomes a gesture of gratitude. Your life becomes an offering in a way. And I do believe, if you think about it, there's no way, right? I mean, if you really think about this, there's no way that the crystals weren't planted here for us to work with. They're too beautiful and too magical. And there's no way that the flowers were made not to be enjoyed. They wouldn't smell the way they do. They wouldn't make us feel the way they do. And so I think when we get so busy that we stop noticing and appreciating, I think when we do appreciate, the universe that's joy. Can you imagine if you were on that end and you saw someone who was just taking time to notice and appreciate, you would in turn feel gratitude for that person. And I think that's part of the abundance cycle, you know? All right. Well, I know some of you have had a couple of technical challenges, and I'm sorry for that. It looks like, I'm not sure if they're happening on your side or on our side, but I appreciate you doing your best to tune in. And if you have to go back to the recording, it will be there for you. So I appreciate that. Okay. So cola nut, cola acuminata. Cola acuminata. So cola, you know, cola does have caffeine. Hello, Coca-Cola, right? This is where it comes from. And so it is an energizer. But here's the really cool part. Are you ready? And this is why I put it in this kit. And this is why you need it tonight for the new moon. This may be the star of your show. Are you ready? Cola nut is the quartz of the herb family, of the herb world. That's how I want you to remember it. Cola nut is the quartz of the herb world. Do you love it? I love it too. It just has such a earthy, and then when you think about where it comes from beautiful West Africa, so earthy and so, you know, ancient and so powerful, so much, you know, just truly tribal and indigenous energy that rises from that part of the world. And it's so warm and it's so strong and it's so powerful and it's indestructible, really. And that's what cola nut is to me. Awakening, empowering, energizing. And so if you think about it that way, you know how you use quartz, which is you use quartz to magnify. The energy of quartz magnifies everything. It magnifies sadness, it magnifies happiness, it magnifies anger, it magnifies peace. And so cola nut does the exact same thing. It's going to magnify whatever magical property you are working with or whatever intention you are setting. And so tonight for your ritual, it's going to energize everything for you. And I'm really excited for you to see it in action. No, I don't think that the individual parts of the kits, I think the kits will always be sold together. In some cases, if I were to separate them, they would be more expensive. Like tonight's kit, the total cost would probably go up to $40 or $50 if I sold the pieces individually. So I will tell you, it'll always be a better value to get the kit. If we do sell them separately, they're going to be more expensive. But for right now, everything comes together, which keeps my team sane. And so we don't have the individual pieces available. But I'm trying to keep the price of the kits. I mean, literally, we can't lower the price of the kits anymore because of manufacturing and production on our side. So we're trying to keep the price really low so that anybody who wants one can get one. Yeah, Coca-Cola comes from Annette. How about that? How about that? We are going to do subscriptions for kits, you guys. We are finally getting our little subscription ducks in a row, and so that will be happening. Because I know a lot of you get frustrated when they sell out, and I don't want you to have to go through that either. So we are going to be working on that. So that should make you very happy. My sweet team. Okay, Gemini, masculine, air element for kola nut. And what's interesting is if you think about it, this is very much the energy of the kola nut. It goes through and it's energizing, it's raising the vibration. And so if you think about it, that's why I checked in with my own self, and it's like, does that resonate with me, that this would be an air element herb? And it very much does, because it's magnifying and it's intensifying and it's pushing and it's pulling, it's doing all of that. Okay, here's what's really interesting. In African tribal cultures, kola nut is used to unite warring factions or warring tribes. And the way it works is the two tribes come together, they articulate their differences, they come to some conclusion about how they're going to negotiate those differences, and then they exchange kola nuts with each other. And the exchange of the nut, the act of receiving the kola nut by the other party signifies agreement, that the bonds of the terms of the agreement, or the whatever consensus has been reached, will be honored by the other party. It's a very cool thing. Gotu kola and kola nut are not the same thing. And we'll talk about Gotu kola in another upcoming session. I think it's on the plan to come back to Gotu kola. Okay, so what I want to tell you is this. So think about it that way. It binds agreements. It binds agreements. And so I want you to think about it that way. It's going to be the last step of your ritual tonight, because it's going to bind the agreement between you and the universe that you are ready to receive prosperity and abundance. So, and then what you can do, it's not just for tonight. You can use this to bind any ritual work that you do, binding your intention. Sealing, it's basically sealing your intention. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. Okay, so keep this one. In fact, if you have a little place where you keep all of your really important tools for ritual, keep this one with all of your tools. If you make medicine bags, if you have a medicine bag, you should add kola nut to your medicine bag. It's going to ease communication. It's going to support you, and it's going to ensure that whatever commitments you make will be kept and honored by the other party that you're with. A lot of people go through, tough negotiations. I have a friend whose mother is trying to get custody of her granddaughter for just different challenging reasons. And, she didn't expect to have to go through that. And so when you need a right outcome, when you're looking for equity, balance, right, coming out of any kind of situation, kola nut's really good to use, because it guarantees, it's almost like it's a smoothing over herb for you, a nut. It binds the commitments that you make. It smooths the connection with the other party if it's adversarial at all, and it helps you reach a consensus that's supportive of the collective good, which I think is really powerful too. Jackie, yes, we talked about the May kit a little bit. It's active tonight, and it's the craziest value so far. So if you want the May kit, you should definitely head over and get it tonight if you haven't already. Okay, so kola brings life. That is the mantra in West Africa. Isn't that beautiful? Kola brings life. And if you think about it, and it's a sacral chakra herb too. And so that is what it brings to your connections, to your relationships. It just vitalizes, it energizes, and it brings that element of life. And so it can bring that energy to your life too, just like quartz can. Just like quartz magnifies, kola nut does the exact same thing. Okay, any questions about kola before we move on to Hemlock spruce and clary sage, which I'm very excited to talk to you about. And then I'm going to teach you how to use all these tonight. I'm so excited about that. And we have a giveaway. And then we'll talk a little bit about next month. Oh, there's also, I wanted to tell you, there's a new moon. We just made a whole category on the website. Some of you were asking about what tools you use for a new moon. We just made a whole category on the website. So if you go to where Classroom Tools is, it's right next to it, and it's called New Moon Intentions. And it's everything we have for new moon. It's all the labradorite, the new moon candle, all the new moon perfumes, any other tools that we have to support you with new moon intention setting and ritual. So that's all there too on the website. Somebody had said, you know, it's hard to find all the tools for the new moon because they're scattered all over the place. So we took it all and put it together. Yeah, it's fine that yours says spruce. It is hemlock spruce. Mine says spruce too. It's hemlock spruce. And hemlock spruce, the Latin for hemlock spruce, is Tsuga canadensis. And by Tsuga, I mean TS, not S. Tsuga canadensis. Uh-oh, Trisha got 2 of the spruces. Just send an email to Magic. We'll send you the other vial. We won't ask you to return your second spruce. Just send an email to magic@sagegoddess.com. Those sweethearts down there will take good care of you and make sure you get that. Sorry about that. That's how you know that everything at Sage Goddess is done by human people and not machines. Because we put 2 of one thing in your beautiful bag and didn't put the other. Okay. I'm glad this is resonating with you. And you know, some of you are new. I just want to tell you, if you ever have feedback, like could you do more of this, less of that, I'm happy to modify this in any way that supports you. So if you want more of certain kinds of information and less of other kinds of information, all you have to do is give me feedback. And I love that. You know, I love knowing, because I like to make changes, you know, midway, rather than finding out at the end of the year that you would have liked things to be different. Okay, hemlock spruce. Now let me clarify. Are you ready? This is not hemlock. This is not poisonous. Nobody asked, and that's great because I think you all know, but it's not hemlock. So I would never sell hemlock. You shouldn't work with hemlock. Hemlock is dangerous. This is not hemlock. This is hemlock spruce, which is a tree that grows in Canada, hence the name Tsuga canadensis. Virgo, this is a male essential oil, element of earth and also fire, and they're aligning it with Venus. That felt right to me, even though Venus is feminine. And part of it is Venus can go both ways. It sounds really bad. But Venus can go both ways. I think Venus can be both masculine and feminine, just like women themselves can be masculine and feminine. And so in some ways, I feel like this is all the strength of the male with a little bit of the softness of the feminine, if that resonates with you. I'm glad you like it, Haley. I appreciate that, because she said she likes that the class is 50% magical and 50% medicinal. I want you to have both, because I want you to be taken seriously. You know, if all you know is the magical stuff, people are going to be like, oh, she doesn't know what her herbs are about. If all you know is the medicinal stuff, then people are going to be like, well, how do you use it? Why is it important in ritual? So I want you to take a little bit on your wrist or wherever you'd like to anoint. You can put just a tiny bit of spruce on directly to your skin. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't overdo it, but you can put just a touch. In general, it's best to suspend your essential oils in a carrier. Take 3 deep inhales. Yeah, Laura, so I changed that in my notes for you tonight, because I'm considering it both masculine and feminine, but you can choose. So I sort of want you to figure out, I want you to work with it, and I want you to decide for your own notes whether you think it's masculine or feminine, because there's disagreement in the research. So I'm leaving it to you. I love it too. I love, love, love it. Love, love, love it. Now here's what this is about. So the hemlock spruce tree takes 200 to 500 years to grow to its full adult height. And its lifespan is anywhere from 1,000 to 1,600 years on average. Okay. This is a big, big, big grandfather, grandmother, depending on how you lean into it. I feel like it's a big grandmother tree, but you could see it as a grandfather tree. This is a very strong spirit to work with. And so what this oil can do for you, if you're open to it, what hemlock spruce can do for you. And by the way, so wait for the dry down, okay? It goes from that kind of sharp eucalyptus-y, kind of camphory smell that you guys are all picking up. That is the initial release, okay, of the essential oil on your skin. Let it dry down. It's going to soften, and it softens to almost, it's not musky, but it certainly is, it's sexy, I think. So try smelling it now. If you've had it on as long as I have, try smelling your wrist now. Do you smell that now? Once you smell that dry down, you're going to realize why this is one of my favorite oils to wear as perfume. I actually have a roller of this at home in just jojoba oil, and you could do that yourself. You could take yours and actually add it to jojoba, make your own roll-on with it. When I wear this as a perfume, people will come over and stop me. What is that? What is that? What is that? And when I say it's a hemlock spruce tree, they're like, oh, it's not what you would expect. I will tell you something, the dry down that you're smelling, and we're at about 2.5, 3 minutes, the dry down that you are smelling, you ready for this? Smells exactly like the best sandalwood coming out of Hawaii right now. Truly. Except the best of the best of the best sandalwood that's coming out of Hawaii right now, a dram like this would be between $75 and $95. So this is kind of, I don't like to call it that, but this is sort of like the poor girl's Hawaiian sandalwood. Because I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to spend $75 to $90 a dram on essential oil, but this is affordable. Do you see the softness now? Do you guys like it? Isn't it beautiful? Yes, we are offering carrier oils, by the way. We're going to start with a trio of exotic ones for you so that you can experiment and see what you like, including avocado, which you should be bathing your hair in all the time. I keep my avocado oil in my shower just for my ends, just right before I get out, like while you're shaving maybe. Little avocado oil just on your ends, and then just rinse it off, off of your hands and off of your ends before you get out of the shower. It will seal your ends. It helps to seal the cuticle, which prevents split ends, so you won't have to cut your hair as much. Avocado oil is the secret, I'm telling you. Between avocado, argan oil too for your hair, there's almost nothing like it, and they seal up that cuticle, which helps to prevent split ends. It's so good. Teresa said she smells like a sauna. Isn't it good? I'm glad you guys like it. Okay, so this could end up being your favorite new perfume. Here's what else you could do. You could get really fun and crafty tonight and start playing. Take this little dram of hemlock spruce and add it. If you have sacred sandalwood, add it over there. If you have, there's so many it goes well with. It goes gorgeously with Dea. I wear it with Dea sometimes. Absolutely stunning. I like it with Portal because what it does is it softens Portal. Portal's a little strong for me, but I love it, and it softens it. So you can just kind of play with what you like. So good. What you have to know about carrier oils is some of them smell. Olive oil smells, almond smells, avocado has a very slight scent to it. If you start mixing it with essential oils, you're going to add the note of that to your perfume. So it can throw your perfumes off, which is why I use jojoba, because jojoba is a blank slate. It doesn't have a scent, and it has a 2 to 4 year shelf life. Jojoba does. The perfumes last forever, but it also doesn't inflect its own scent onto a perfume, especially if there's a delicate balance. The carrier oils can really throw it off. You know what though, Rhonda? Rhonda says she likes it with saffron. I bet this is gorgeous with saffron. In fact, I'm going to find mine and play with that. I want to inspire you. I want you to start looking around your aromatherapy cabinet and thinking, what can I do with this one? It's so good. Okay. Let me tell you what this beautiful oil does. Are you ready? And here's why I started working with it. I didn't start working with it because I love the smell of it. In fact, when I started working with it, I had never smelled it before. I ordered it specifically for grounding. Okay. One of my teachers told me there is nothing like hemlock spruce for grounding. And that, in fact, all metaphysical practitioners should carry it with them, especially for ritual. So here's another way you can work with your spruce. Keep that dram in your medicine bag. Keep that dram. If you're a sound healer, keep it with your drums. If you, if you have a little, medicine bag that you carry, or a portable altar that you work with, or just your main altar at home, keep it there wherever you do your primary ritual work. Okay, because afterward, think of it kind of like almandine garnet is, but an essential oil version of that. You know how almandine garnet is very gentle, grounding, just sort of helps you rock your root chakra without really, stabilizing you too much. Like hematite can really ground you out and make it very hard to get back up. It can make it hard for you to reopen the crown chakra. Almandine garnet is so gentle that way. So think of it almost like the almandine garnet of the essential oil family. Yeah. So Jenny, how many drops? It depends. This is where you have to play. There's no specific recipe for this. I kind of want you to experiment with it. But what I want you to do is save just a little bit of it as a perfume, because you'll come to love it. And let me tell you something. If you set an intention for what you're going to do with an oil and you use it for that purpose 7 times, you'll never have to try and remember it again. because you will have developed what we call a scent association in shamanism. And what happens is, after 7 times of working ritually with a scent for a specific purpose, you now have developed a shamanic association with it, whereby, and this is all happens in the olfactory bulb of your brain. So this is scientific, this isn't woo-woo. What happens is, by the time, so your olfactory bulb develops the sensory information that connects the experience of smelling hemlock spruce with feeling grounded, safe, connected, and so on. And so all you have to do is incorporate this into your ritual practice and then just keep doing it, and that will make it a practice for you. You won't have to think about it anymore. Absolutely, Colin. 7 times to develop that scent association, and it's entirely a brain-based process, and it's automatic. You've already done it. I mean, 7 times in your grandmother's kitchen, and that smell of that food, no matter how long you live, will always make you feel loved. You know, it's like 7 times makes that process happen. Yeah, Shelly said she did that with her Blue Lotus perfume and her priestessing stone. And again, you know, when you smell Blue Lotus, what's going to happen to you, Shelly, is you're instantly going to drop in, or, you know, or meditate more deeply, or receive better information, or open your third eye more powerfully every time. So Gelinity, it's a great question. Some of them have, not necessarily all of them have deity connections. I would tell you that, which one is it? Yerba Buena, they're associating with Amun-Ra from the Egyptian pantheon, Amun-Ra. And they were associating it with the Mayan pantheon too, but they didn't specify, none of the research I did really specified a god or goddess connection for Yerba Buena specifically. So I hope that's helpful. Blue Lotus is coming. It's coming. So is Rose de Mai. We're getting ready to restock. So I hope you're excited for that too. Yes, Blue Lotus and Rose de Mai are both coming back to you. Okay, any questions about any of that? So here's what you know, in all of the research, the one thing I found that I thought was really beautiful is that if you can think about this tree as having a quiet dignity, you know, it's so old and it's so mature and it's so wise and it's so connected and it's so powerful in the sense that it really does, it's this blend or unification of these masculine and feminine energies, and how it has found its own cadence there. You know, it's found its own rhythm between those two. Because it has such a long lifespan, it has this imprint on it, this history, this wisdom, this anchoring energy for you. And so part of the way I want you to think about this is having a quiet dignity. You know, if you need a presence that's going to stabilize you. And so that's what it's going to be for your ritual tonight. Remember how I told you that you can't go into ritual, but especially not new moon ritual, with fear in your heart. One of the things that hemlock spruce can do for you is sort of wrap its big arms around you and remind you that you're safe. It's okay. You're safe. You're guided at all times. You are surrounded, supported, encouraged, nourished, held. You're not alone, you know. And so a lot of times fear comes up for all of us because, oh yeah, Nietzsche's asking if she can still build a scent association if she hasn't been able to smell in months. You can, because you're still registering the scent even if your nasal passages are blocked. So you don't have to worry about having a cold for that. That's it. It's putting its arms around you and saying you will be safe. And that's the reality of fear. 99% of the things that we fear don't actually happen. And a lot of fear is rooted in the belief that we're alone. But you're never alone. You're never alone. So if you believe that you're trusted and surrounded and held and connected at all times, fear kind of slips away. Fear almost requires solitude, you know, in the grandest sense. And yet what we know from the flower of life and our own historical and magical traditions is there is no such thing as the one. It's all unity. We talked about that with Lemuria last night with Magical Sabbatical and Gemwise, you know. So if anything is a facade, if anything is, you know, is false, it's the idea that there is separation. We are unequivocally unified on all levels. You want to go hug a spruce, Cynthia? I like that. Is it really? Ron, I didn't know that. She said that was a Tai Chi move. What does it represent? Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, you should never feel alone. You're never alone. I mean, honest to God, the Magical Sabbatical group and Gemwise group and AroMagic groups are active 24 hours a day. If you ever feel alone, go online. You'll have somebody responding and telling you they love you within 10 seconds. It's part of what I love about our community, you know? That's right. And some of you are actually in other time zones. So happy new moon. In which case, remember, you always have 24 hours on either side. So you don't have to really rush. You have until, I would say, Wednesday morning to really work the energies and make the most of the energies for yourself. Okay, that's cola. So in tonight's ritual, cola nut is going to stabilize you. Spruce is going to stabilize you and support you and nourish you and remind you that you're not alone and you're always safe. Cola nut is going to bind the energy of your intention for tonight's ritual. Spearmint is going to do all the work. So spearmint is going to attract the prosperity that you seek. You can also make requests around health, wellness, balance. I mean, literally anything. Safety, protection, because you know it has all those other properties around releasing attachments. That's right. Laura says hemlock spruce is like a big, strong, sexy man, or a big, strong, sexy woman, if that's more your speed. You know, that's why I'm saying it has this beautiful duality to it that I just love. You know, I think that's the duality of it alone is its own form of magic to me. You know, some ladies like ladies. We have to honor that. Okay. Wisdom of the sages. Are you ready? Clary sage. Salvia sclarea. Salvia sclarea. This is one of my favorites. I mean, truly, if it's in AroMagic this year, it's because I love it. I'll just be honest with you. I didn't put anything in these kits that I don't love. So if you have it, it's because I use it, I love it, I believe in it, and I think you have to have it. I could have chosen from about 5,000 different herbs and oils to offer you this year. I only have 11 months of your time, and you know, in our kits we have 4 ingredients. So I really had to go through and make some choices about what I wanted to give you. And tonight, you know, I would say the Yerba Buena and the Clary Sage are your workhorses of this kit. The Clary Sage is going to do everything. Are you ready? Clary Sage makes you beautiful. Clary Sage can make you very lightheaded. It can make you a little horny. I don't know if there's children watching. If this sounds good to you, go ahead and try some on. I'm over here going, why not? You know what? It's 6 o'clock on a Tuesday, and let's have some fun. Yes, there's basil coming in the future. Sure is. I got a little surprise with you around that. I'm going to do a savory kit because there's so many savories that I love, and I thought it'd be really fun to give you these savory oils as opposed to the sweets. Right, Sharon? So I really want you to inhale this 3 times deep, but it could make you a little woozy. I won't say will. It doesn't have that effect on everybody. It could make you a little woozy, could make you a little fun. So you have to be open to that. If you're open to that, take 3 deep inhales, please. That's right, Sharon. Or Shannon, I should say. That's exactly right. Are you ready? You feeling good? Look at that. Jen says, horny girl with new moon virgins. We keep it exciting here at Sage Goddess. You know, we don't like to be bored, and so we don't want you to be bored either. Wisdom of the sages. Are you ready for what I think might be the most important? What I think must be one of the most important essential oils in your collection. I won't say it's the most important. And I will tell you, if there was only one on the planet that I could choose one and I had to live with just that one for the rest of my life, does anybody know what that would be? Do you guys know what the one essential oil is that I can't live without? That's a fun pop quiz. That's a really fun pop quiz. Whoever guesses that right, I'm going to send you a present. Does anybody want to guess? Patchouli. Ha! Pushita. Pushita got it. It's patchouli. I cannot live without patchouli. Like cannot. There would be no way that I could possibly live without patchouli. So she guessed it. I'm going to send you a present, Pushita, for guessing that correctly. That was not an easy one because I love them all. I mean, you guys know that. I'm always like, oh, I love that one. I love that one. I love that one. I love that one. But I wear patchouli every day. So it would be very hard for me to possibly live without patchouli. Okay, so let's talk about clary sage. Clary sage grows in the Mediterranean, North Africa, Asia, the United States. Rhonda's like, we know you, Athena. It's true. I actually have a little, I know exactly what I'm sending you. Appreciate it. Kind of excited about it. Okay. Pisces, feminine energy, air and water, Mercury. Those are the correspondences. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad you guys love it. Okay. Here's the number one thing you need to know. Did you see that empath video I did about like 3 tips to help an empath avoid burnout? It was just like a week ago. And what I talked about was Clary Sage. If you're an empath and you're burning out because you are on overload, you know, you're constantly receiving other people's energy and information, and you need to be able to mitigate some of that because it can cause burnout for empaths real fast. This is going to support you and help you. It filters energies a little bit. It purifies your own energy field, your own auric field, and it really does that head to toe. I mean, just a little bit of Clary Sage. When you inhale it, it clears the energy centers. Can I tell you something? If you haven't smelled it with the hemlock spruce, that's what's happening on my wrist right now, and it's flipping amazing. I haven't smelled this combination together before. I just put them together by accident tonight. That might be my favorite yet. If you smell that, if you have the kit and you put that on, you'll know the kind of scents that I like, because there's a little bit of an herbaceousness to it, but it's drying down. It's sexy. Those are both aphrodisiacs in their own way. So this could also be party time. You guys like it? Okay. This brings ease and flow. I promise you, ease and flow. A little bit of Clary Sage with patchouli is really good for prosperity if you have that combination with you. Now, I'm thinking about doing a duo for you. There's white patchouli and there's black patchouli. And I think it would be really fun to do a duo as just a special listing for you guys so that you guys can experience the differences, because they're very different. The white patchouli is very light and very delicate, and it dries down to a note where you almost wouldn't recognize it as patchouli. The dark patchouli, the black patchouli, I mean, they're white and black too, by the way. They're clear and they're almost black. The black patchouli has a heavier, that's the one I like because it smells like Pirates of the Caribbean and cobwebs, which are, I just like to smell like Pirates of the Caribbean and cobwebs. I find that really is interesting for people. The black is in Najwa. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'll put that duo together. I think you'll like it. So you're going to be binding and sealing with that's exactly right, with Clary Sage in mind tonight. Ease and flow, stress relief, and I'm talking major stress relief. I'm talking major stress relief. You know that stress when you feel like you're going to start screaming? They are grown in different places, and that's why you have the two different colors of them. They're both Pagostemon, but they're from different parts of the world. You know that feeling when you are so stressed out that you're just going to start screaming? And if that never happens to you, that's so great. It happens to me. So that's a Clary Sage moment. Can we do a hashtag with that? Hashtag Clary Sage moment. Now, I think mine is hormonal with menopause because I was never really like that before. And now I get to a point where I'm still able to control myself. I can look at the kids and go, I'm in timeout. Sorry, I can't talk to you right now. I'm in timeout. So I've learned how to manage my my emotions. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. But I'm totally serious though. You know what I told my team yesterday or before yesterday? I can't remember when it was. I said, you know, if any empath tells me that they don't have anxiety attacks and like freak out moments, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. In fact, I think most of us empaths have a massive anxiety disorder, whether we mask it and don't show it to you or show it to the world. But I think almost every empath has anxiety. And part of it is we're receiving so much information and we're like trying to process and we're trying to think our way through it, but you can't. We're trying to feel our way through it, but that's overwhelming. And we can't, half the time it's like we don't even know how to filter any of it out, and it's all coming, and then we've got a partner talking to us and a parent talking to us and a kid talking to us, and it's, what are you supposed to do? And so you need tools that are going to help you mitigate some of that stuff, because honestly, I think that's what happens when people just sort of lose it. They get their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they're just grumpy and angry and frustrated, and I think it's because they didn't find a release valve. And whether that's whatever that is for you, exercise, yoga can be a great release valve, working with Clary Sage, starting to connect with your crystals, activating the lower chakras, because a lot of times the freakouts happen up here. the freakouts get balanced down here, you know, dancing a little bit, you know, get in your body, have sex. Anyway, I can tell that I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm just saying, when people tell me, no, I don't really have, I don't freak out, and I'm thinking, okay. Stress relief, immune support, menopausal support, balances the hormones and the adrenal glands. Here's one suggestion that I think would be really cute. Not cute, but it's special. When we were in Pillars of Priestessing, some of you remember that was my priestessing class last year. The book is coming out soon this year. But when we were back in that time together, I talked to you about thresholding and how important it is to put sacred items over the entrances and exits to your door. They're really important. It's not just people who come in and out of the door in your house, it's energies. You know that, right? So one of the beautiful things you can do is you can actually make a clary sage. People call them different things. You can call them a posy or a bouquet, and you can add other things to it. You can do clary sage with rosemary for, you know, balance and protection and harmony and clarity and comfort with healing. You could add lavender to it for additional peace. Oh, I'm glad Jen's in Pillars of Priestessing right now. So what you do is you make a little bouquet and you can tie it. You can make it pretty, you know, get some sari ribbon or get some, whatever you love, whatever ribbons you like that are really pretty to you, and then hang it upside down. I like to hang anything that's going to be for the energy of the room. I like to hang it to the right of the door as I'm entering. That's where rabbis put mezuzahs on doors too, which is a blessing over the entrances and exits to the house in the Jewish tradition. So I always hang my posies or my bouquets or my protection, you know, whatever you want to call that. I always hang it to the right of the door. And you can put it in a little organza bag if you prefer. You know, you can make a little sort of a medicine pouch out of it. There is Nietzsche Black Sage's mugwort, and so mugwort essential oil certainly does exist. It's actually in a lot of sage goddess perfumes, especially our protection perfumes. It's in witch perfume. So Black Sage's mugwort. I've heard that Pushita's asking if silk blocks negative energy. I have always read that silk, because it's living fiber, carries the life force energy, and so it prevents illness. Isn't that interesting? And one of the things I wanted to tell you, thank you for bringing that up, actually, Pushita. So in the shamanic tradition, it's thought that illness comes with an entity. And so sometimes when you're extracting energies out of someone who has an illness, you're also extracting entities. We use Vogels and things like that for energetic extraction. I'm mentioning this because with regard to yerba buena, what shaman believe is that when you burn yerba buena, or when you wear yerba buena, or you diffuse yerba buena in your home, but burning it's very effective, that actually the entities that come to bring illness cannot enter your space. Isn't that cool? So it actually blocks. I wouldn't have thought of that if it wasn't for Pushita's question, so I'm very grateful for that. Okay. Stress relief, immune support, menopause, protection bouquets, hang to the right side of your door. It can also help you. So you ready to laugh? Then we'll talk about ritual and giveaway. Yeah, so Haley, in shamanism, some, not all shaman, but some shaman believe that entities actually bring illness. And so they bring it and they manifest it in the body. And so in order to remove illness, you also have to remove the entity that brings it. And so part of the reason that curanderas and shaman use yerba buena in spaces where they believe that someone could become ill is to prevent the entrance of the spirits that would bring illness. If that makes sense. Right, so good. So good, so good. It's not any different, Kristen. It's a very similar tradition to hanging a witch's ball. It's just a different way of doing it. More aligned with a Native American approach, which is to hang bundles or to hang, you know, bundled herbs to the side of the door, which is more Native American than pagan, is what I would say. Sometimes there's all different reasons. Here's the thing, Haley, I'm not necessarily saying that I ascribe to that belief. I don't so much think that illness is entity-based as I believe illness is energy-based. And I believe that all illness is exclusively energy. That on some level, in order to experience illness, you had to either lower your vibration to that vibration or you attracted that vibration. And so to release it, you're going to have to understand why you aligned with that vibration, because you did that for a reason. if that makes sense. Okay. Now this is why it's funny. So they say the clary sage can help you attract a soulmate. You know why I think that is? Because if you inhale too much clary sage, you're going to be woozy and interested. And that certainly can attract someone to you. It may not be your soulmate, but you know, it could be somebody interesting for a little while. What can I say? Okay, you ready to talk ritual? Are you ready to rumble? Tonight is your night. Okay. It's better than alcohol. It's right. Anything's better than alcohol. Truly. That's right. Andrea said temporary soulmate. I think there are other names for that, but we won't talk about that right now. Ooh, Ladybug said slutty sage. We came up with some good hashtags tonight, didn't we? Slutty sage might be the might be the best of them all, in fact. Woozy and interested. Can you imagine, you know, somebody coming back from a date and like, how was it? What was she like? Well, you know what? She was woozy and interested. A moment mate. You guys honestly are the funniest people I know. Truly. I end up, after AroMagic every time, my cheeks hurt because you guys make me laugh so hard. Sexy apothecary, one night soulmate, slutty sage, moment mate. Yeah, look at that. Sophia said clary sage and a good cannabis strain, and you've got a great Beltane. A little Damiana. Can you imagine? Woo! Okay, are you ready for ritual? All seriousness. You need clary sage, you need your spearmint, you need your kola nut, and you need your spruce. So the first thing you're going to do, last step is going to be what? What's the binder? What binds the energy? Pop quiz. Did you learn? What did you learn tonight? What are we going to use to bind it? What's the last step? Binding. What do we use to bind? The kola nut. That's right. Kola nut binds your commitments and your communications, even with the divine. So that's the last step. The first step is spruce, because you need to feel safe and supported and secure. The second step is clary sage. The third step is spearmint. The fourth step is kola nut. Okay. Now, if you have a little bowl, that's going to be best for you. If you don't have one, that's okay. I happen to have one, so I grabbed it. Whatever little bowl that you have. This one isn't, you know, perfectly clean, but that's okay. None of your ritual tools are going to be perfectly clean anyway all the time. Okay, take your spruce. Inhale deeply. You don't have to apply it if you don't want to. It's best to apply with a carrier oil anyway. Just take a nice deep inhale. Exhale. Close your eyes, quiet your mind. Calling in the spirit guides of everyone who's in this circle this evening. Opening a beautiful sacred circle for us. Since we're doing a little ceremony, I'm just going to go ahead and open the circle all the way around. And then I'm just going to call in the spirit guides. Everyone who's in the circle this evening, taking a quick bow around the medicine wheel to bow in the 4 sacred directions. And we call upon our elder guardian spirits, our strongest ancestors, the strongest men and women in our line who've overcome great odds and circumstances to create, to manifest, to become. I talked a little bit about this in my blog today too, about the strong women in my life, you know, grandmothers, great grandmothers who manifested my life and allowed me to come through as a healer because of the work that they did. So just honoring all of that, calling upon their strength and their conviction. I can't stop smelling my wrist. If you guys like that, then you're a kindred to me. If you like that dry down of that spruce, you're one of my peeps. Okay. Giving thanks, feeling safe, grounded, connected as we step into our ritual this evening. Next, taking a nice deep inhale of clary sage. And at this step, what we're doing is we're relaxing and softening, we're allowing. You know, the biggest part of prosperity, truly, the biggest part of any metaphysical work on prosperity is opening the doors to allow yourself to receive. You know, we block everything we want, and then we look around and we say, Why don't I have the things that I want? Well, you're blocking them. You're like standing in front of the door. And so what Clary Sage does is it gets you out of the way. You know, it sort of softens you. It allows you to, first of all, believe that you're worthy. Second of all, relax you so that you're in a deeper state of awareness. Are you huffing the Clary Sage, Kat? Good stuff, right? Kat's going to have a good time later. So we're really excited for Kat about that. I'm telling you guys, seriously, suspend in a little jojoba, put it in your purse, will be your favorite perfume. And people will ask you what it is when you say, oh, that's hemlock spruce. They might look at you like you're a freak. That happened to me one time because I think they thought I said hemlock, which is a poison. And that's certainly not what I was wearing. No, Haley, do you know, Haley, I've taught or run an event every night for the past 2 weeks. So I haven't had time to record that singing bowl video. But I'm going to take this weekend off a little bit. I have an event here at the shop, but I'm going to take a little time off this weekend and I'm going to record it. Okay, next step in the ritual. Are you ready? Take your spearmint, your yerba buena, your little tin. And we're going to do 4 sprinkles. Are you ready? 4 little sprinkles. Your next bonus session is coming up. I think it's on the calendar in your classroom, and it includes the Bee Copy, the Narcissus. We're doing catch-ups with the bonus. So anything you purchase that's AroMagic is either going to be discussed in the main session or in a bonus session. But we're not specifically tying the sessions to specific things except the main session. The bonus will be a catch-up of all of these ancillary products. Okay, 4 sprinkles. Are you ready? First, a sprinkle to the east. And so as we sprinkle this beautiful yerba buena honoring the direction of east, and if you want to take it to another level, you can actually stand up, right? So I can stand up here and face east, which is this direction right here. And as you sprinkle to the east, trying to make sure you can see me, giving thanks for prosperous new beginnings tonight, setting the stage. And you can keep pinching and keep, you know, if you just want to work with what's in your bowl, or you can keep pinching. So as we honor the direction of east, we call in prosperous new beginnings, and we allow all of that prosperity to flow to us with ease and grace without having to force it in any way, shape, or form. We are just receiving. And then as we turn to the direction of south, which will be this way for me. No, this is south, sorry. Just want to turn my back to you. As we face the direction of south, we give thanks for the courage to receive our prosperity. We ask for the stamina it will take for whatever we need to do to bring that prosperity into being. I want some more Clary Sage. Wait. Oh, it's so good. Okay. Then we turn to the direction of west, which for me is this way. And we allow the river of prosperity to flow to us. And I want you to actually imagine a river in your mind's eye. Imagine just a huge body of water, and all it is prosperity and abundance and everything that you seek, and it's just flowing right to you. I'm looking right here at the Pacific Ocean because out that window is the beach. And so just watching the looking out there toward the ocean, imagining all those waves just rushing in. And you can imagine the same thing, okay? Thank you, Laura, for saying I have a nice butt. And then finally, we turn to the direction of north. And we ask for the strength and the guidance that we need to manifest the prosperity that we seek. And we give thanks to all of our ancestors for bringing us through, for allowing our line to carry the wisdom that we need. Okay. Now, if you want to juice this up a little bit, if you have any prosperity oils around you, so honeysuckle for next month is actually a prosperity oil. In here, make it. I want to tell you guys, this is real honeysuckle essential oil. Never in my whole life did I think that that was actually possible. Honeysuckle is one of my favorite flowers of all time. And this is so true. It's very gentle, but it's very true. So I'm actually going to add just a little bit of my honeysuckle from next month's kit into my herbs for tonight. And when you get your honeysuckle, do the same thing. You can always add energy to, if you keep this together and you don't take it apart, you can always add energy. Ah, it's so good. Okay, and next, I know we're over time, we're almost done. Next is kola nut. So, and speak to your guide, speak to the universe. I bind the energy of this intention. I bind it to my highest good. I bind it to the highest good of the collective. I bind it to happiness and joy. I bind it to the evolution of my soul along my soul's path. And I ask that the prosperity that comes to me be a blessing to everyone who is around me. And together we say, Amen, Aho, and so it is. And you can do other things to juice this up. You can leave this together and put a beautiful double terminated quartz point in there and just let that charge up the energies of it. You can actually take a wand, a double terminated wand. If you wanted to, you could put a generator on here. I've got a little citrine generator sitting here. You could put that on there if you got one of those. And then you can actually take a double terminated wand and you can call in energies, source energies, and you can connect the wand to your single terminated generator. Isn't that cool? And just imagine, you can call in, you can point this toward the ocean, call in all of that water energy to your generator. You can point this toward the north, right, and call in all of that strength and support from the ancestors. Like you can direct the elements. It's a very cool way to use a double terminated wand. Okay. But I recommend leaving that together. I'm actually going to leave my little generator in there. It feels really good. So that's a little magical set of tools for you. Did you enjoy that? So if you did it with me, if you don't have kola nut, I don't have an alternative for you. That's the one thing I have to tell you. With the AroMagic kits, a lot of their metaphysical properties are so specific that I don't have an alternative. I wish I did. I just spilled spruce oil all over my table, and I'm kind of not upset about it. Not bad. Kind of excited about it. Ah, it's so good. Okay. Do you guys have questions? So here's what I'd recommend that you do. Ready? And there's different ways to, as I say, zhuzh. There's different ways to boost the energy of that ritual. First of all, you should do it again in the morning, and you can do it again one more time tomorrow night if you want. These selenite wands will not be in the shop, but I can tell you where to find one. I'm just closing up the circle and thanking the elements and the guardians of the gateways for being with us in our circle tonight. And I'm sending all that energy to you. Other oils you can use for the main ritual, there isn't an alternative for any part of this except the spearmint. If you don't have spearmint of any kind, you could use patchouli leaf or patchouli herb as an alternative. The rest of them, I was trying to connect the oils from tonight to show you how you could use these in a ritual form. So I don't really have an alternative for you. But if you have the tools, you have good timing because you can use them tonight. You have basically the next almost 48 hours now to do your new moon work. Every time you do that little ritual again, it adds a layer of energy and correspondence to the work that you're doing. If you have a chance, it'd be beautiful to do that ritual by open water, running water somewhere, because that brings flow and that brings the feng shui of prosperity to you. If you have a chance to do that facing the direction of southeast, like outside in your garden or in your home, that's going to add another layer of correspondence or energy too. Oh, for sure, 5/5. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I mean, all month long in May, one of the things we're doing in Magical Sabbatical is we're actually tracking ourselves all the way from the new moon in April to the new moon in May, because that's the 30-day window when you're going to be manifesting this prosperity. Have fun, you guys. Enjoy your new moon rituals. I hope you love tonight. Go get your May kit. Don't miss it. Please, please, please. Like I said, the May kit, what I should have charged was $29 because the oils, the vials of the oils are worth $19 alone without the herbs. But I really want to commit to keeping the price stable for you so that you can predict. You know, also we can do the subscription, so it'll always be the same price every month. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. And I'll see you guys very soon. Have a great rest of your night. Happy new moon to you.